Hey everyone, my name is Jackie. I'm one of the master students at PCA doing the transdisciplinary media program. I was born in China, but I went to college in Los Angeles studying media studies and also had a minor in art history. So, in one of our other classes, the instructor wanted us to make a project that's inspired by some wearable fashion, and he wants it to have a human interactive element in it. I became quite interested in the human interactive part because I had some interest in interactive design, and I also had a little background in simple computer programming, so I wanted to create an installation using this interface called Arduino, which is pretty simple to learn and the price is really cheap. I want to create a space which allows the audience to interact with it and to help them visualize some of the very unnoticeable but important aspects of one of the most frequently happening movements in everyone's body, which is breathing. In other words, breathing will be the source of input for my project. I chose breathing as the source of input because I think it's a very important movement in our daily life, of course, but it's so subtle and unnoticeable that most of the time it's very easily ignored. I also find breathing as a very interesting source of input because for most people it's certainly a source of output because like when we talk about breathing, it's like the action of expelling air from our body. It's a definitely an output of a series of complicated organ movements. It requires energy from food, and it's an important thing we need to constantly do to sustain life. However, if we look at the big picture, to nature, to the world we live in, to people standing around us, it's really some kind of output. The moment we breathe means a bunch of carbon dioxide being released into the air, the atmosphere. Moreover, it is a highly individualized thing. We all have different rhythms and breathing patterns, and we definitely breathe at different rhythms, when we are doing different things or in different moods. So I think it has like a great variation, which is a good source of input because it creates all kinds of possibilities. So in the picture, you guys can see this is like a breadboard and the Arduino parts I built for the prototype. So when I was trying to build something like this, I needed something to detect a human breath. So basically, I think I needed something to detect airflow. But I did research online. I went to the electronics part store to try to find something like that, but was informed there was barely anything like that. There's not a very effective way of building like a air sensor in Arduino because there's like no parts for that. So I changed my mind a little bit. I realized even though breathing is like airflow, it also has like sound, even though we cannot really hear it most of the time because it's like really quiet. But still, we can there is sound. Like when you're using a microphone and you put it really close to your mouth, you'll be able to hear yourself breathing. So I bought like a small mic, which you cannot really see on the picture, but it's that little thing sticking on the breadboard. That's like a micro mic. So when you breathe onto it, it's gonna catch the sound of your breathing and then transform that into digital signals and then send it to the computer. So another reason why I decided to visualize the movements of like human breathing is because in my home country, China, as a lot of people have seen on the news and probably have noticed themselves in the country, that the pollution problem is getting like worse and worse in recent years due to the rapid development of industrialization and all sorts of factory being built all over the country. So when I went back this summer, I realized the air condition overall in the city has become like a lot worse than a couple of years ago when I was still living there. I found this is like a very serious problem and it deserves to catch people's attention and find ways to improve the condition of the air. So I want people to, through my project, I want people to look at their own breathing patterns and realize the importance and beauty of it, because when we're doing that, it's so subtle. We think it's like so normal that we can just easily forget about how essential it is to our own lives and to people around us. And on the output part, the output of this project, when breath was taken in and was transformed into digital signals, the output in this prototype was lights. So basically, like depends on how fast you're breathing or like how heavily you're breathing, the lights will be turned on accordingly. Or turns on more if like you're breathing really fast and hard. My friend, my classmate Basma helped me building those paper covers for the lights using paper and the tracing paper to make the lighting more subtle and soft. But this is just a prototype because ideally I would want the output, the moving parts, to be like fabrics, because when I think about like breathing, I know like airflow is a very kind of like a wavy movement. I always kind of imagine that because like the ultimate goal for this project is to raise people's awareness of the importance of their own breath, and then therefore realize how important the air condition is to their life and to their breath. So if I do visualize the movements of breathing, I want it to be like wavy, to be like kind of big, so it has like a stronger visual impact on the viewer. But to do that, first I'm still like thinking about like what kind of fabrics I should use. Especially if I want them to be big, like they need to be like heavy but not so heavy because they needs to be like blown and kind of flies up. Also like what I should use to animate the movements of the fabrics. Do I use like fans to like blow from under the fabrics, or do I use other kinds of like a motor or something else? Those are the things I'm still deciding, but so far I'm pretty satisfied with the input part because I think the Arduino parts do accurately catches the rhythm and the strength of the breath of the viewers. So that's the part I'm pretty happy with. So in the future, in the rest of the semester, I'm gonna be keep developing this idea and then keep working on it. Thank you for watching.